Yes. Okay. So, I mean,
Yeah, I'm
so
taking
can
a
you
break.
taking a breaks? Can you give us some fill us in on some of the stuff that we had today, and maybe even tell us, like, Molly and I just started maybe 2.5 years ago.
Okay, I'll be happy
Some
to.
I
advice.
started last fall, so
Oh, last
I
fall.
don't
Okay,
have.
So 2 years for me, for last fall for her.
okay, I'll be delighted. So I can
Okay.
tell you as I go back. So I left the witnesses when I was 25. I'm now 45, so I left 20 years ago, and that was just around year 2000, year 2000, 2001. And the reason I left was because I left home. I was late to leave home, but not for Jehovah's Witness guy who wasn't married. But so I left home, and I got the internet for the first time. It was still dial-up internet, real slow,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, and so the first two things I looked at being a 25-year-old were like pixelated boobs, obviously. Uh, I'm sorry, it's true. And the second thing I did is because I was still, I thought of myself as a good Jehovah's Witness boy. Uh, I looked and I typed in Jehovah's Witnesses, and the first place I came to was a chat forum that was known as H2O. I don't know where that name came from. That's what it was called. And so H2O, which later became JXJW discussion, I believe, but it was H2O back in my day. And literally, I came onto the forum, and I thought, great, this is maybe an opportunity for me to meet a woman, get married. And of course, my first reaction when I saw these people posting stuff was, these are all apostates. This is ridiculous. And I was really offended. And they were saying mean things about the elders and mean things about the governing. How dare you talk about the governing body? Uh, and that was my first post. That's my first ever online post in my life, was a comment, and it was called Letter to Farkle. Because one of the lead guys on that forum was a guy called Farkle. He's since passed away about 8 years ago, I believe. And Farkle was a really good apostate online when it was just really kicking off online. And he was very funny, very witty, and said mean things. And my letter was, "How dare you say this?" And I said, we're right about blood. We're right about this. What do you think you're doing? And of course, everyone laughed at me, made fun. And somebody said, "Listen, you need to read a book. Have you read Raymond France's book at least?" And I'm like, "What?" And then I knew the name France. I didn't really, know which one was which. And I was like, "Well, yeah, of course I've read their books. I get them from the Kingdom Hall." And they said, "No, you idiot. He wrote a book. He left the witnesses." And I'm like, "What? A member of the governing body left the witnesses? No way. Couldn't be true." Yes, it was. So they told me about this, and I went on to Amazon, and this was back when Amazon sold like 3,000 things. And I ordered. They didn't even have a co.uk. They had a just the USA page. I went to the American site, ordered his book, and it came posted to me 2 weeks later.
Hmm.
And and I read this book, and of course, like most people who read that book, I read it in about 12 hours, cried my eyes out,
Hmm.
and then I took it to my elder, to the presiding overseer, because I wanted him to prove it wrong. And this guy, we had this like relationship outside the witnesses where we used to do a lot of rock climbing together, and so his name was Roland, and so I took it to him, and him and his wife are both incredibly smart people. And I said, "Listen, I'm so sorry. I've read this apostate material. I don't know what to do." And they said, "Neil, we're really disappointed. But we consider you like a son to us," because they only had one daughter. They said, "You're like a son to us. So we're going to read this book and we're going to help you out, tell you where you went wrong." Thank God I can go back to, it's actually, it wasn't long before that. I'd been a regular auxiliary pioneer. I really believed it. And I came back 2 days later, and it was his wife, Vera, who spoke. And she was like quite unassuming. She wouldn't talk a lot. And she said, "Neil, it's all a lie." And I said, "Brilliant. It's a lie. Great. Well, where's the lie?" And she went, "No, the Jehovah's Witnesses is a lie. We're leaving."
Wow.
And I was like,
Wow.
"Oh, crap." And that was the presiding overseer of the Kingdom Hall. And then, so he went on,
Mm.
because he was a real devout guy. And it tends to be, if the more devout you are, the more devout you are when you leave too. If you know what I mean, you become much more of an apostate if you were a true believer.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was what they just started telling everyone. So about five whole families left my Kingdom Hall. My
Mm.
parents eventually did too. and it was called the Great Apostasy of Northern Ireland at the time. They ended up shipping in extra people from England, families from England. Witnesses in the Kingdom Hall weren't allowed to talk about it anymore. And they still cross the road when they see me because they still live in the same town. And that was how I left and how I got involved. And so that was the beginning of activism for me. I believe there was an ex-JW group back in I think they're called Usenet groups of the very beginning of sort of the internet proper. And that's what H2O came from. But that's where I came from. And so I stayed with that for about 2.5 years. And I didn't do any activism other than talk to ex-Jehovah's Witnesses online. And I talked to various people, my family and stuff. Eventually managed to get my mum and dad to leave too. And my brother left as well. He lives in Australia now.
Wow.
And grows flowers for a living. So that's nice. Then I met my lovely wife, Linda. We got married, and as you do, have 2 kids. And I thought nothing more about the Jehovah's Witnesses till around, I think, 2000, and I want to say 8 or 9. And then what happened then? Yeah, but 9, 2009. And then what happened then is I had because the economy had gone so bad, I had taken a job. I'd got pretty badly hurt in the job, and I was sitting at home on sick, and I was miserable and depressed and sad. And I got thinking about the Jehovah's Witnesses and how much it screwed me up. And again, I went back online, and I decided, you know what I'm going to do? I found actually John Cedars, his YouTube channel, and he was on Facebook a lot of the time. And I spoke to him, and I made a video about my story as a Jehovah's Witness. And he publicized it, and suddenly I went and had this YouTube channel all of a sudden. And it was just called Neil Garner initially. And, I got a couple of 100 views, and for some reason, a lot of the Americans tended to like the channel. For some reason, I don't know why that was. More so than British people, although plenty of British people enjoyed it too. And then I made another video, and then it became kind of addictive because you were like, "Oh wow, we got 300 views with this one. The next one was 500. The next one was 700. And then suddenly I was getting videos